if it's Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern, what does that usually mean?
It's going to be a good minute right here with Donald Trump, who's going to join us right now. Hello, Mr. Trump.
Well, it means good ratings. That's what it means.
You're sure right about that. Thanks to you.
Yeah. Special thanks for doing that stroll. I took a half hour out of your life to walk around the streets of New York. That was a lot of fun.
Well, it was for me too, Brian. I must tell you, we had a great time. There were a lot of people in New York City that like this Brian. He's a big star.
No, it's more like you. They want you to run for president. That's what they want. No doubt about it.
You're iconic, and people love getting a view of you. Mr. Trump, I want to talk to you about some of the news of the day. Down in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Benjamin Dean, who had been the Officer of the Year, and a new fella on the force, LaCourie Tate, just a year out of the police academy, were both murdered yesterday after a routine traffic stop, apparently for speeding. 4 people have been charged. They're going to go in front of a judge later today. You say the only punishment adequate for the 4 who were accused, at least the 2 with capital murder, is what?
Well, it's the death penalty. We have people that are these 2 animals that shot the cops, and these are 2 wonderful young cops. And, you don't see rioting when the cops get shot.
Nope.
You don't see anything. There won't be protests. There won't be anything. You won't even hear about it. In 2 days, it'll be old news, and that'll be it, except for their families and their friends. It'll be forgotten. The death penalty. It should be brought back, and it should be brought back strong. These 2 guys were just absolutely ambushed, and it's horrible that what happened. And, the police in this country are not being treated properly. They are going to become totally ineffective, and rightfully so. If they make an arrest, they're afraid they're going to lose their career. If they do something, if they shout at somebody, if they say, oh, gee, you can't do this or you can't do that, they think that's the end of their career. I can tell you from personal experience, because I have a lot of interaction. I'm a big fan of the police, and I will. And sure, you have some bad ones, but you have 99.9% phenomenal people, and they're afraid to be doing their jobs because they don't want to lose their career. They don't want to be fired. You look at that mess that happened in Baltimore that first evening where they destroyed the city in one evening. I mean, after that, it didn't matter because the city was virtually destroyed. But that first evening, they weren't allowed to do their job. They didn't bring in the right force. They didn't have enough. I mean, it was disgraceful. Now these 2 people are just gunned down by these 2 thugs, and I will say thugs, and they should get the death penalty, absolutely.
Yeah,
and you know what? I don't know. They say it's not a deterrent. Well, you know what? Maybe it's not a deterrent, but these 2 will not do any more killing. That's for sure.
I don't want to support them in prison the rest of their life. Officer LaCourie Tate's dream was to be a cop and revitalize the inner city neighborhood there and the black community. And Benjamin Down, he is 34 years, Dean, excuse me. He was previously Officer of the Year. So we lost two great cops, as well as the one in Long Island, Brian Moore.
Absolutely. Brian is such, I mean, you look at his record, just everything. You look at the family is devastated. The family's never going to be the same. No. I saw the family. They were like just devastated and broken, and they're never going to be the same.
On Mother's Day.
And for what? And you know what? They end up in a court system. It'll take years to convict whoever it is. They'll get some kind of a reduced sentence. The whole thing is ridiculous.
Well, Mississippi does have capital punishment.
We're going to be speaking with the mayor of that town coming up in the program. Mr. Trump, a lot of people are looking for leaders to step up and say exactly what you're saying right now. You were in South Carolina at a Freedom Summit, and we've been talking about the storms crossing in that area. You didn't bring the rain or the wind, but you brought the house down. This was some of what you had to say.
This deal with Iran is a disaster. It's a disaster. The lobbyists will come and see me, but I don't give a about lobbyists, okay? Mexico will not be taking advantage of us. They will not be having open borders. And the greatest builder is me. And I would build the greatest wall you have ever seen. The greatest.
Got a lot of applause. And take a look at the very latest Bloomberg poll out of New Hampshire. If the election were held today, the primary on the Republican side, Rand Paul, Scott Walker, 12%, Jeb at 11%, along with Marco Rubio. And there you are, Donald Trump. You're beating Chris Christie, Ted Cruz, Ben Carson, Mike Huckabee, and Carly Fiorina.
Oh, you mean they finally put me in a poll? It's very interesting because when I made the speech, I got by far the biggest standing ovations, and all of these pundits, these political pundits, they hated seeing it, but they were watching and they said, "What's going on here?" And I knew it, so they put me in a poll. That's good. But the problem with that poll is nobody thinks I'm running. Okay, and if they thought I was running, it would be even better. But nobody thinks I'm running, and they may very well be surprised in the very near future. So we'll see what happens. But I really had a good time in South Carolina. The crowd was amazing.
Well, it's hard to believe that you wouldn't be running, to put in all this time and giving up your weekends to do this. But I want to bring you to another thing we could be talking about today. As soon as today we could find out if the NFL will suspend Tom Brady. Any games, fine them, take a draft pick away. We'll find out some type of, he's going to get some type of punishment. What is your sense on what should happen with Deflategate?
Well, I'm very prejudiced because he's a good friend of mine. I play golf with him. I always like to pick him as my partner. He's very good. He's very good under pressure. You probably noticed that over the years.
Yes.
So I'm extremely prejudiced. Leave Tom Brady alone. He's great. Leave my friend alone. He's fantastic. And by the way, that report was ridiculous. They did hundreds of pages. Can you imagine what that law firm was paid to do that report?
Mr. Trump, can I ask you this, though?
There were a lot of probablys in
more,
the...
more probable than not.
By the way, if you go in front of a jury and you say, you probably, maybe, it could be, you're innocent. They can't even get a 12
I know that you like him, but if you read the report, you could tell that in my mind, it's clear he put those two equipment managers up for that.
Take it away from Brady, because that was more probable than not that he had something to do with what happened with the Deflategate. But if you take it away from him and you want to prevent someone else from stepping over the line of the rules, what would be the appropriate punishment if it weren't Brady?
Elizabeth, I can't take it away from Brady. He's totally innocent. He's an innocent human being. He's being persecuted. It's a terrible, terrible situation. Now, look, he's a great guy. He told me, I spoke to him. He said he had nothing to do with it, and I accept his word for it. And you know what? And I tweeted it just jokingly, I tweeted, Tom Brady was so good. If he was throwing a soccer ball, he would have been. He would have won that game. He was phenomenal. So.
Yeah, Donald Trump, you sound a lot like some folks I met over the weekend from Boston at a wedding down in Washington because they feel that Tom Brady is unjustly being
I'm a New England girl.
Well.
It's a tough one for me, but
well,
I appreciate your take.
We have to always back our friends, but he's a great guy. I tell you what, if you knew him, you would say exactly as I'm saying. He's a great guy. And I think the NFL and I think the country has a lot bigger problems to worry about. But leave Tom Brady alone.
All right. Donald Trump joins us every Monday at this time. Mr. Trump, go run your empire. Thanks for dropping by the couch.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Thank you very much.
And thanks so much for your time last week. Meanwhile,